What is up, guys? Fado82 coming at you with a quick look at ARK Survival Evolved, which is an open world survival crafting game with dinosaurs that's currently in early access on Steam. This is not a comprehensive review. These are my thoughts and impressions after having played the game for its first week of release on Steam. I was fortunate enough to get into the game one day prior to its open release, and I didn't want to just rush a video out, guys. I wanted to spend some time with it and really get into it, explore its systems, walk around the island, interact with players, and I really wanted to give you some feedback on it after having spent some time with it. So at this point in time, I've played it for about 12 hours. I have a character who's level 28, and I've played around with a lot of the systems in the game, and I've explored the island for the most part. I can say without a doubt, guys, this is the most polished early access game that I've ever come across, and it's an absolutely stunning achievement. My jaws dropped in a few cases after playing this game, which doesn't happen often. So what is ARK, guys? It's, like I said, an open world survival crafting game with a heavy emphasis on dinosaurs. But at its core, it is a survival game. From the moment you spawn in, you are worried about food, you're worried about your temperature, you're worried about building a shelter, and you're also, worried about dinosaurs as well. But if you're interested just in survival games, and maybe you're not interested in dinosaurs, it's still a pretty awesome game. The systems in place seem to be fairly well thought through, and even though it's early access, you kind of forget you're playing an early access game at times. In terms of the survival piece, it is absolutely hardcore, and the footage kind of doesn't do it justice, but it is every moment in this game you are worried about something. There's very little downtime, there's very little relief from the elements. If you're not worried about a dinosaur eating you, you're worried about finding food, you're worried about your temperature, and it is something that is a constant pressure in the game. But that's the way that it should be with a survival game. So this game, at least right now, is for, I would say, hardcore players who are ready for the grind, who are ready for trying to survive against the elements and trying to survive against other players. It is an open world PvP game. There are some PvE servers, but right now it does have a heavy emphasis on player versus player combat as well. You can see here there's some footage of my group raiding a base while I do Overwatch on a raptor. So raiding is part of it as well. So if that's something that interests you in games like Rust, it's going to be here also. It's really fun and it's a really tense experience. The dinosaurs in the game, guys, do play a central role. They can be tamed. They are also something that are to be feared. In terms of taming the dinosaurs, it's not an easy process. It actually takes quite a while to tame a dinosaur. So in some cases, you're looking at upwards of 2 to 3 hours to tame certain types of dinosaurs. Our good friend and fellow YouTuber Vertigo was trying to tame a prehistoric crocodile. He spent about 3 hours doing it. He was just about to get it done and some guys came by and murdered him. He actually cried himself to sleep that night. And it's a hardcore experience, guys. You really become invested in these dinosaurs. They're really a big deal. And I actually, the other day, was playing and I accidentally killed my friend Steve's dinosaur. I didn't mean to leave it in the stream, but I did, and it drowned. He's still a bit butthurt over that, and it didn't sit well with him. It wasn't intentional, but I don't want to digress too much. The dinosaurs are a big deal, but they're not easy to come by. So that's something that does make it feel fairly well balanced. You're not going to see somebody running around on a T-Rex every 2 seconds. They're actually pretty rare to tame. So in terms of the game, guys, there are a lot of systems in place. There's gardening, there is a whole progression system with regard to different skills, and there's a bit of an MMO feel to it. So when you're playing it, it feels almost like you're playing a massively multiplayer online game where you have skills, you have not necessarily attributes, but you have points to put into things like speed and stamina. And depending on what type of character you want, you're going to want to think about those skill points. The group I'm currently playing with, we're actually having people put skill points into different areas. We're having a character who's kind of primarily a tank, somebody else who's going to be focused more on gathering resources. So you really can create your character more to your play style than you do in other survival games. There's more of a progression to this system than you see in a lot of other games, like Reign of Kings doesn't have that same type of character progression. So there is a level system too that I think needs to be talked about. The dinosaurs have levels. So you might see a dinosaur that looks really menacing and ominous, but it's a level 1. You might see another dinosaur that looks like it isn't a big deal, and it might be like a level 17. So you got to be really cautious about what dinosaurs you're approaching, because you never know what type of level it's going to be at, and it might be a little bit out of your reach. So in terms of the game, guys, it is a mix of this prehistoric vibe and also this kind of sci-fi vibe. So it's a little bit strange and a little bit hard to explain, but there's these crystalline towers, these obelisks that sort of loom in the sky. I'm not really sure what they're there for right now. There appears to be some type of a alien technology that might come into play, and then at the same time you have this prehistoric feel to it. Now, having played the game for the better part of a week, I haven't seen too many guns in the game. People seem to be at this sort of really primitive level at this point in time. I saw one guy with a bow, but guns aren't easy to come by. So the things you craft in this game and the way you have to learn them, the progression to it seems to be that those items are going to be more geared towards the end game, whatever that might be. So it's not a case where, at least right now, you're going to spawn in and have some guy shoot you in the head with a sniper rifle across the map. It's not really the case. And while it's a PvP game, right now I've seen a lot of the players kind of focus more on just worrying about the dinosaurs, worrying about their own groups rather than attacking other people. Now, we've raided some groups, we've attacked some people, that's always part of it. We actually got raided one night too, but it doesn't seem to be as quite PvP focused as some other games. And I think the reason for that is there's a lot of other stuff to do rather than PvP. You got a lot of other stuff to worry about, such as building your base, keeping your dinosaurs fed, making sure they're alive. So there's a lot going on here. In terms of the user interface, guys, at first I was a little bit turned off by it. It felt very clunky. It felt very kind of messy, and I was hoping it would be more of a minimalist approach like the UI in Rust, because that's what I wanted out of a survival game. So it is being developed for consoles down the road, so I think that part of the menus are a reflection of that, and I wish it was only a PC only game, only because I think it could be maybe a little more streamlined if that were the case. But even with that, I was able to adjust to the menus after a couple hours of playing. So at this point, I'm comfortable with it. I would just encourage you, if you're playing the game, to not get too caught up in the menus if you're out in the wild, because you have to be aware of what's going on around you. So in terms of the dinosaurs, guys, the AI seems to be really spot on. I've had some really interesting moments in the game where dinosaurs have acted in ways that seem somewhat realistic. They do fight each other, so there are dinosaurs that are aggressive and there are other ones that are more passive. There's omnivores, there's carnivores, there's herbivores, so there's the different types here, and the dinosaurs, even the ones who are peaceful, do react differently depending on what you're doing. So in one case, I was actually around a dinosaur that I'm not sure if it was mating or if it was a younger dinosaur and the other one was the mother, but it charged me because of the fact that it had a connection to that other dinosaur when it otherwise wasn't aggressive. Beyond dinosaurs, guys, there's a lot of other really crazy creatures in the game. There's these turtles, there's these crocodiles, there's these megalodon sharks, which are absolutely gnarly. And then there's also fantasy creatures. In the trailer, we saw what looked like a dragon, which was kind of crazy. But from reading some reviews, some interviews rather, with the devs, they said basically they wanted to throw everything that they thought was cool into this game and see what sort of the reaction was. They said, you know what, it's not just a dinosaur game, it's not a sci-fi game, it's not a fantasy game, it's all those things together. And it's so far really seeming to be a really cool game. There's a lot of stuff that people don't know about in the game right now, so there's a lot of things that are undiscovered and things that have yet to be implemented. There's purportedly secret caves, secret passages, secret technologies, all this stuff to find. So the game does have a sense to it right now, like we're all exploring and we're all finding, something that is undiscovered, which is really cool. I'm having a lot of fun with the game, guys. I can't really recommend it enough. I've played a lot of early access games, and I'll just sort of say it again, that this one really doesn't feel like an early access game. But that does need to be said too, that it is early access, so there's going to be stuff that needs to be iterated on, stuff that needs to be tweaked and fixed, so the mileage is certainly going to vary. I give it at this point, guys, 2 thumbs up. If you guys want to see more of ARK, let me know. This is Fado82. Peace.